Now tuning in to Earbud Media. Audio for everyone.
And rolling, can we say?
Hell yeah.
Is that allowed in this economy?
I mean, there are consequences. There are taxes involved. I think, but
there are consequences to living Moss, you know, and that's something we always got to consider when we record.
Oh God, the dangerous things I would do. The thing is I don't miss current Taco Bell. I miss Taco Bell of like my high school. When it was like, if you had $2 in your wallet,
you were
that
good.
Was like, you were good.
That was a whole, like, several meals. You were ready. You were ready to fill yourself.
You would be full for a really long time.
Yeah.
That's what I miss.
Better days. Yeah.
This episode is sponsored by 2012.
Right, exclusively. Yeah.
Not current Taco Bell. Welcome into the Twilight, where we have unfortunately been hit by the prophetic dodgeball again. And every time that we think like, oh, we're the longest running podcast, that we're jokes on us. You know,
they keep trying to prove us right. To spite us, I think, because we say some pretty gnarly, silly stuff that we don't actually want to exist. And then they're like, bet, okay. We're going to keep you on this, ball and chain forever. Congrats.
We're just going to put you on the back of our truck and drag you through the mud. Yeah. How's that for you?
Oh, God.
And we say money, and we say no.
But torture and continued servitude.
But torture, yes.
Yeah. Let's go.
Christ. So now we're being held captive by both Peacock and Netflix.
Yeah. Yeah. And we can't escape. Yeah.
And we can't escape. But we're here nonetheless.
I'm here. I'm living. I want to bring a show to the space. Congratulations, everyone. And I'm thoroughly shocked and delighted that you have not brought this to space, which means I get to tell you all about it, and that's exciting to me because it is incredibly you-coded in a way that honestly might be triggering, but in a very great way.
It has, everything I've seen about it has felt triggering, but in a very comforting way.
Yeah. And the show is English Teacher, starring and created by my man Brian Jordan Alvarez, and it's fucking phenomenal. Everything everyone's saying is great. There's literally only 2 episodes out right now, and I'm like, this is incredible television. I want it all the time. I'm so obsessed with it.
Cody's doing the free work of a newsie.
Right. Yeah. Come on, get it while it's hot, be on the pulse, right? Like, this is, you want to be here. When you're here, your family, and it's wonderful.
Correct.
And some of y'all, a lot of y'all have been into BJA recently because they're like, oh, the guy on TikTok, he does funny characters. Oh, he does a really good Australian accent. That's actually kind of scary how good it is. Listen, I love that. I love that you're all on the train. I've been here. YouTube web series days, Caleb Gallo days. I've been here. I'm not trying to gatekeep, but I'm just saying I'm very proud of this man because he's doing the damn thing in like a big way, and like it's fucking awesome. And the joke ratio on this show is stupendous. Like, it is, listen, similar with like we get shows like Abbott, we get shows that are like high, like fast paced, like we're chucking things, we're throwing things at you, we love it, right? I want more of that all the time, and this is perfectly great at that, and feels very of the time, feels very modern, feels very current, but also like wonderful in so many ways. And I'm having a frickin' blast. Also, Trixie Mattel is in episode 2, and she fucking tears. She's so fucking funny.
The clip I saw of her out of drag rolling up to the school was it sold me. I was like,
just
I'm
hitting that vape,
show,
you know?
Amen.
Yeah, it's really wonderful. I'm very excited to see where it goes. But I have a lot of faith and love for this. Also, fun fact, he has the same birthday as me, which is just a fun fact.
That honestly explains so much.
It's all, well, I feel like I'm spiritually and emotionally and cosmically tethered to this man. So this, I can't not love him, I think. But it's great that he's genuinely very talented and funny and puts a good, group of people together to make something really fucking cool. And I love it.
The discourse around this already is...
Dude.
It kills me because, first of all, I need y'all to... And I know this isn't our audience. I'm talking to the public. But, I need you to be grateful for the fact that we are getting new television right now. When the market for television right now is absolute dumpster fire.
We're getting new 22-minute sitcoms. Why are we complaining?
Right, exactly.
What?
Be grateful.
Yeah. It was dark for a while, y'all. You have to remember how quickly we forget.
Right. This isn't another fucking Ellen's Games. So
right.
Shut up. And also, the people who are like, oh my god, there's 2 teaching shows. I mean, this is coming from someone who is in the propaganda who likes Criminal Minds. Okay?
You're part of the problem, yeah.
I am part of the problem. I think it's also hard to escape with the television that we have where everything has guns and it has cops involved, right? The amount of procedurals that have cops in them on network still today.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I saw the promotional for 911 about the B NATO. I'm interested.
Yeah, okay? I gotta be honest. I am interested.
I'm a little... It did unfortunately pique my interest, okay? But the amount of, shows on network right now about, cops and hospitals... Yeah. Can y'all just, shut the fuck up for a second? Right. Okay?
We're having fun, and we're getting good content. And we should be grateful for that. We should revel in it.
And it's not another Guy's Grocery Games. So
yeah.
Cool.
Right. How are you doing, my dude?
I can't wait to report back when it is properly fall here. That's what I'm looking forward to for this show.
Yeah.
In an unsurprising turn of events here, I have unlocked a new segment of autism that I'm bringing for my happy thing.
Yeah.
I never thought I would do this. I'm going to preface this. I never thought that I would get into Critical Role.
Yeah.
One, because I was scared of it. I fully thought, there's too much. I don't know where to start.
Yeah. It does seem very overwhelming, for sure.
And it is.
Right.
It is. I tried in this past week to go with, Campaign 1, Episode 1. Have you watched any of Critical
Never
Role?
In my entire life, no.
Perfect. I was hoping you would say
that.
Yeah. Don't, and this might be an unpopular opinion. I'm going to tell you personally, don't do that. Don't start with, Campaign 1, Episode 1.
Sure.
Because I was expecting the, production quality of D20.
Yeah.
It's not that.
Right, sure.
So what I did is I jumped forward to where the production quality was better. So I could figure out, okay, do I even like this world? Do I like these stories? That way, if I do, then I'll go back and figure it out. Because some of those earlier campaigns are 50 episodes, and each of them are 4 hours, and it's what the fuck?
Whoa, okay.
And one of the things I really like about D20, and even with stuff like the Adventure Zone, I really enjoy the constraint of something like 20 episodes.
Totally.
Or 11 episodes.
Yeah.
As a storyteller, that creates an arc that you need to fit into. When you get something like those earlier campaigns, you get y'all, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, that's some J.R. Martin shit. Like, I need you to edit for a second. So I started with EXU, which is the same world that some of those other campaigns are, but very similar to D20, where they're 4 episodes or 6 episodes. So I was like, my brain can wrap around this a little bit more. That's what I would recommend doing. Okay. Especially because the first 2 are DM'd by Abria. So it's like familiar, the production is there, and also it feels more attainable to actually finish it. Yeah. Which is nice.
Okay. Word.
My specific happy thing, if you wanted one to jump into, especially since you just told me that you finished the Ravening War.
Yeah.
Is EXU Calamity.
Okay.
Because it's a prequel. Like, it's not even necessarily related to the other campaigns. So you don't need any sort of, like, backstory.
Yeah.
For any of it. You don't even need those for the other ones, necessarily.
Sure.
Which is, like, what I needed to get into. Brennan DMs it.
Love.
Lou is at the table. Abri is at the table. And then some of the other Critical Role people who I didn't know are there, but people probably really like.
Sure.
It gives very strong Ravening War vibes to me. It is set up like a Greek tragedy, which I love.
Cool, so I'm gonna die. Great, love it.
Yeah, but he sets it up, like, none of it is a surprise. He sets it up at the jump. He's like, this is a prequel to everything. It gives very strong, like, Rogue One energy. Okay. To me. Very similar. I don't think the Ravening War had come out yet.
Yeah.
But it's very like the Ravening War kind of thing. I love it. Thus far, I'm not done yet. But there's something... The reason why I'm comparing it to the Ravening War is because Lou and Abria and Brennan are at the table.
And loves of my life, all of them.
And what I've noticed thus far, having watched the other EXU tables, is Critical Role is so fucking serious, and it seems to, like, take itself really seriously. D20 doesn't do that much. Like, it's, I don't know, it's fucking D&D, but they laugh. The reason why I like Brennan, and especially having Lou and Abri at this table, is that they make it lighter.
Yeah, sure.
Even though it's a heavy story that they're trying to tell, they bring in that levity. I don't know if Critical Role does that, but I know Matt Mercer seems to take himself very seriously.
Sure, yeah.
Which I'm worried about.
Yeah.
But thus far, I highly recommend it. So, very exciting. From what I can tell of the Critical Role cast, they seem fun. But I'm not decided yet if I will fully go back into Campaign 1 just because, like, it was, I don't know, fucking 2015.
Sure.
The streaming wasn't great yet. But everyone is pretty.
Love.
Which is annoying. But highly recommend it, and it's brought me a lot of joy. I don't know how these motherfuckers deal with, like, 4 to 5 hour episodes every week.
Yeah.
But God bless, you know?
Yeah, that's some real stamina that I gotta commend.
Yeah. I'm glad that they moved from what it seems like they were doing before of, like, actual live taping to pre-recorded.
Yeah.
Because I know that a lot of the actual play world is neurodivergent. I could not sit for that long. There's no way.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no way. But yeah, all good things. I'm very excited to keep exploring
Hell
space.
Yeah. I'm so stoked. I love this.
Boy. We have a couple of current events this week.
Boy, do we got
one
news.
Of which is very heavy, and we'll save for the end because I know that y'all are very excited about it. The first one is a piece from Teen Vogue, very apropos for this week, that I have looked up this author's name. Could not find a pronunciation anywhere. I think it's Aaaaand. Fingers crossed. But it is amazing. Thank you, Anne, for this piece on where all the black girls in new YA shows and movies.
Yeah.
It is very appropriate this week, even though we did get Bonnie back for this episode.
Yeah.
But a witch that I was very excited about, Gloria, gets killed off this episode, which has been a common theme with any black person in the fucking Vampire Diaries.
Yep. As soon as, they're in, it's like, oh, and what if they're gone? What if you're just, bye? What if we don't develop you at all?
We only have one in this show.
God.
And we do know, right, what happens to Bonnie in this show, so it feels appropriate to continue talking about. There were a few shows in here that I have not watched yet, but a lot of this talks about a Twitter thread from Jasmine Clare that went viral, talking about the erasure of black actresses, both in books and media, like media as in TV shows and movies that are recent, which is an ongoing problem, but especially since we're covering the Vampire Diaries right now, feels important to bring up here. I retweeted this on our Twitter account for folks to be able to follow as well.
Hell yeah.
But feels like, especially since, knock on wood anyways, the media industry is starting to pick back up. I mean, can y'all just, not anymore?
Right.
I don't have control over it because I'm not in this industry, but as a consumer, I would like to not have content that only has actors that look like me. That'd be great.
Yeah, I'm certainly tired of it.
It is boring.
Yeah.
At the very least.
Oh yeah.
Not to mention the very obvious racism that is there as well.
Right.
Brief mention for a variety piece from a couple of months ago I saw brought up on TikTok. Side note, I started getting Jeremy fan edits on TikTok this week. I'm not complaining about it. I
am confused.
I don't know what, I'm confused. I wasn't getting those before this week, so I don't know what the algorithm decided on, but okay. Yeah. It's a variety piece about Jared Padalecki, which I know, hey, I'm not going to talk about Supernatural. Everyone shut up. This is specifically about his experience with the CW, because Homeboy's been there since when it was still called the WB.
Yeah. So
he has experience. There's a specific quote in this where he's talking about he was on the Walker and now the show's canceled and he's been fired, he was asked if the CW ever gave a reason for the cancellation. And he goes on, and this quote says, "I feel like the CW that I was a part of last year is not the CW that I was a part of under former chairman and CEO Mark Pedowitz for that entire almost 20-year stretch. They're just changing the network around where it's not really going to be a TV network as much as it's going to be, here's something fun for an hour that you'll never watch again, but hopefully you watch it and it's cheap. And I hate to say that, but I'm just being honest. I mean, fuck it, they can't fire me again."
Damn.
Which is very Jared. But seeing as I think it was 2 weeks ago, had talked about the golden era of CW with their network schedule, that was a time when he and Jensen were on there. It's not what they have now. He was earlier talking about how they have an hour of Scrabble, an hour of Trivial Pursuit.
Good old-fashioned TV. Just classic, good content.
Really interesting, riveting TV that you'll mark on your phone to watch every week.
Yeah. Let's play Lingo, Right.
Just
good old-fashioned, good quality television that everyone works really hard to
say, listen, as someone who, I don't have a strong parasocial relationship with Jared anymore. I didn't watch Walker.
Yeah.
I watched the old one with my grandma. I didn't watch this one.
Sure.
But there's something to be said about him knowing how this network has worked, seeing as he was half of a show or a third of a show that made that network a really strong amount of money for 15 years.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And that, to know now, right, that like when that chairman and CEO changed, in part also with how the entertainment industry has happened with these strikes, right, like they have completely shifted priorities to like what is quick money now and not interesting TV like we are watching with the Vampire Diaries.
Mm-hmm.
That's shitty. That's, I mean, I don't even know what they have right now, but it's not fucking Riverdale.
Right.
It's not Supernatural. It's not stuff that's going to bring them 15 years worth of consistent money.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a choice, but they're also not the only network to be doing that as well. We have to talk about this because it's the most important thing.
Dude.
I just wasn't expecting it.
Yeah.
I thought that, like, when we got that Peacock news, it was going to be the only thing that we got.
Yeah.
So I was shocked by this Netflix news. Where were you?
I had so many people blowing up my damn phone.
Yeah.
Which I love and appreciate. And also, to be fair, we also fucking called this shit, right? Like,
we did.
We have always said in our heart of hearts, not this exact thing, but we were like, the proper Twilight universe adaptation would be anime. And that's just what I believe in my heart.
She's from the jump.
It's what I believe, and it's what she believes. It's whatever. We're all on the same page here. This is not exactly this, but we're so much closer than we ever were to that dream.
Stephanie Weibo-Meyer
said
from the jump that, like, anime is where she has wanted this
Stephanie
to go.
Weibo-Meyer is bananas.
I mean, she's had those animated...
Yep.
Like, the illustrated
the graphic
stuff
novels, if you can even
forever.
call them that.
Yeah. I couldn't remember graphic novel for the life of me. You're correct, though. She's had that image forever. I mean, fuck it. Like, the original idea for the story came to her in a dream. Like, she's had the visual interpretation of this for forever.
Yes. Right.
So it doesn't surprise me at all.
God. So, Fickle Fish Films is back, baby. And we're doing Midnight Sun, the animated fucking series, which I can't believe I'm saying out loud in sequential order like that. You know what I mean? Like, those are all words I know, but in one sentence together, I could not believe it.
It's the perfect one to do.
Yeah. Yes.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
Because if you're gonna make me watch an animated interpretation, which we know, like, Netflix has been trying to really push anime specifically for a while. Like, they're trying to compete with Crunchyroll.
Totally, yeah.
I need to see Robert, right? Because, like, that is who I imagine when I imagine Edward Cullen at this point.
Yeah.
I need to see Edward's face get that, like, animated anger when he imagines himself thinking about Bella.
Yes. Yeah.
I need it desperately.
I need the animated repulsion and, like, moodiness so deeply.
Yeah. For folks who are excited about this, I need you to hold it in your heart, but I also need you to be patient because this is going to take a while.
Yeah.
If it's going to be done in any way of quality, this cannot be rushed. That's the whole reason why the, like, strikes happen, and I think that, like, the current ones right now are still with animation. Apparently it had been, I'm looking at this quote right now, that there's, like, there'd been apparently a lot of interest in it, but I want it to be done well.
Right.
And not rushed. God forbid that they use any sort of AI in it.
Oh, God. Yeah.
I want them to use actual artists.
Yeah.
Please, God. But it's gonna be a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm also very interested in Sinead Daly, who is, like, going to be writing, executive producing this, because she also, I think, co-exec produced this show called Tell Me Lies with Emma Roberts, or she co-produced it with her, and that show is bananas, but it's also, like, a popular book adaptation, I guess, so I feel like this is an interesting pairing for, like, a project of this caliber.
Agree. I also think it's interesting that they had planned for this to go to Peacock,
right,
with Lionsgate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which would have been the natural choice.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering why they did. Maybe they didn't. They went with the other option that they have at Peacock now.
Yeah.
Instead of animation, because I don't know that there is anything. I mean, there are animated things at Peacock, but it's more so like kids.
Yeah. And
They're
certainly not like
doing
usually
more, like, anime
original
stuff
content,
there.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, obviously we're gonna watch it, but we've got some time. I'm not expecting any more details.
Yeah. Probably
until like 2026.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think about like Stephenie Meyer's reasoning for it. It's got to be like a wedding. She's probably like, I've got to fund like these weddings.
I got bills to pay. Yeah, I got bills to pay. Let me in, coach. Let me in there.
The royalties from Midnight Sun 4 years ago have run dry. I need something else in the works, folks.
God. Listen, I respect the hustle, you know?
She really doesn't want to write that Renesmee Jacob book that she had mistakenly teased 4 years ago.
And thank God. We need her to be distracted for as long as she possibly can so she never fucking writes and releases that.
So no one doubles down and makes her do that.
Yeah, no one needs to remind her that that's something she said she was going to do. You know, because I think she's forgotten at this point. I think if she just keeps getting new things that she's doing, she will forget completely and will be better for it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I agree. I would much rather look at and have to review Midnight Sun, the animated version.
Sure.
Than be forced to talk about Nessie and Jacob.
Yeah.
Please and thank you. Are you ready to talk about this chili cook-off episode?
God, this Oops All Chili is this episode's fucking thing. Did not think that would be a main character of this television program. No, but God, am I grateful.
I was not expecting. I mean, when I saw the title "Disturbing Behavior," I thought it was going to be more about Stefan, which it was. Don't get me wrong. I just didn't think that it was also going to talk about the disturbing behavior of Mystic Falls and why everyone has a different chili recipe.
Everyone's obsessed with chili in here. And that's also such an interesting component, too, because we know this place has 8,000 town events a week, right?
Yeah.
And so this is like, you know, this is a new part of the lore of like, okay, all these events are already happening. And also, I guess everyone has their own fucking chili situation going on. It's like, are these guys just farting all the time? Like, what is, you know, is there just chili everywhere at every event being like, yeah, man, it's the classic, it's my old family recipe. Come on in.
I don't know what the local or, like, the regional Safeway is there. I don't know what it's called, like, what your Sam's Club is in Virginia. But you know that, like, every year they have to stock up on, like, beans.
Yeah.
And chili supplies.
Yeah, like it's that time of year around. we gotta stock the fuck up.
Otherwise, they would be like Mrs. Lockwood would kick their ass.
Yeah.
It's haunting. I just don't remember. Like, we had founders events for the last 2 seasons.
Right. Where was the chili then?
On chili then.
Was it just there ominously in the background? I'm confused.
Everybody was just like ripping ass, and we weren't paying attention when they were doing like the fancy dance last time. Interesting. Okay, sure.
Yeah, why not? All right.
It's just, while I have to pay attention and like feverishly take down notes about Anna and Jeremy this episode, and like Elena at one point having a really nasty burn on her chest, and then it's magically gone, I'm also having to think about like, damn, the people in Mystic Falls are probably like super gassy this episode. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. That was such like a good Damon moment too, because like Elena's out here making her option of chili. And Damon's like, God damn it, everyone just brings chili to this thing. I'm fucking sick of this. I've been eating chili for 150 years at this fucking town. I'm sick of it. And Elena's
nobody
like,
puts any spices in this thing. It's so fucked up. It's all just tomato sauce.
Right. And Elena's like, actually, this is like my beautiful family recipe that's fucking awesome, so don't even clown it. And he's like, yeah, I remember eating your family's old ass chili 150 years ago and it stunk, so I'm sorry. It's like, damn, okay, fuck.
God.
Rude. Didn't have to go like that.
Jesus. Didn't need to make it generational, Damon.
Right, yeah. Yeah, that's old wounds, my man. Come on.
He's fucking on some season 1 shit this
Dude,
episode.
yeah.
And not in a good way.
No. No.
He's like, he's not processing well the fact that Damon, or that Stefan is like not there.
Yeah.
And so he's like, I'm just going to kill everyone.
Yeah, what if I just, freak the fuck out? What if I just go ape shit, just like, and have no remorse for any human being or otherwise. That'd be cool for me and for everyone around me. That's a really cool vibe I'm bringing to the table, Super welcoming,
And for a while it was fine. Like, when he was putting it all on Bill, it was fine. But then, don't turn it on Elena and Rick, my guy.
Yeah.
Hey. Just channel your... Can you just get a fucking punching bag or something? Yeah. Go for a run. Go get your zoomies out. Stop being a dick. It's not nice. It's a really... It bums me out, anyways, that, like, I don't know. Damon, this episode was... I was struggling, because there were moments that I was really proud of him, of, like, first of all, Liz, suddenly is like, oh, I'm going to start using the vampires for my job.
Sure.
Put sick him on my ex-husband. Like, okay, Liz, cool.
Yeah. That's one way to do it. Sure.
Sure, okay, great. But I didn't mind the fact that Damon was like, oh, I'm going to take out all this energy on Bill. Because he deserves it. He's a really fucked up dude.
Yeah.
But then, Damon, you can't just, like, take it out on Rick when he's actually trying to step up and help out Jeremy and Elena.
Right, and like we all know that Rick is on the struggle bus still a little bit here, and knows that he's like does not want to be involved in anything, but he has no choice because they need one sort of stable adult figure in their lives, and so he's kind of got to man up a little bit about it. And it doesn't help when Damon's like, "You're a fucking pussy, you suck." Like, I'm gonna do whatever I want. I'm your dirtbag, like. Teen Son equivalent, insert here. Fuck off. It's like, man.
And I know Damon, right? Like, you and Rick are pals, you're besties or whatever. But Rick is also a human.
Yeah. And
just because he's wearing that ring and you know that he'll come back, you don't always know that.
Right.
So you can't just kill him.
Yeah.
It's not nice.
I love to, like, when he did that, and then he, like, woke Rick up. He's like, wakey wakey, good morning, baby. And Rick's like, did you fucking kill me? He's like, listen, I know you're upset. Don't be mad at me. I was just I was feeling it. I'm sorry. Like, I had a little whoopsie. And it's like, okay, you can have a whoopsie. Maybe not when you're intentionally killing someone out of spite because you know they'll probably come back to life. Like, that's a little, how about we don't engage in that kind of behavior, sir? You know, maybe not great.
He did, I will say, Damon did have some funny moments this episode.
Yes.
I did appreciate. As always, even when he's on one, he is making it funny. There was one moment I remember writing down when he's talking about Bill. And he was like, he threatened to out me, which, like, dude, read the room. Like, remember when you just tried to do that to your daughter?
Right.
I also thought it was interesting. Like, first of all, Bill's whole fucking thing.
Yeah.
Scares me, because, like, what do you mean that Damon tried to compel you? You didn't have vervain in your system, and also it didn't work. Like,
yeah. Hello?
You just have a strong mind? Like, what's wrong with you?
And that's, like, I hate the implication of that, right? Because his whole thing, especially with the Caroline situation, is, like, you know, classic conversion therapy speak, which is like, oh, if you're just, like, built different, if you can train your mind to be whatever you want to be, and, like, to get rid of, like, the demons inside of you or whatever. And the fact that he is actually, like, legit training his mind to just be completely repelled by any sort of...
Yeah, no wonder he thinks that if Homeboy is actually built different.
Right. Like, so I don't like the insinuation that it's like, actually you can do... like, it actually can work. Because it's like, that doesn't seem like a great like, thing we're concocting here. I don't love that.
What happened to the whole last episode, last, like, couple episodes, writers, when it seemed like y'all were very anti-conversion therapy, and then you make fucking Bill...
Right.
Be able to...
The success story of conversion therapy. Like,
right.
Like, hello?
What's up with that?
Yeah, what happened to, you know, you gotta be innate with who you are, and that's how it is, and, you know, some people won't like that, but you can't change it, and that's fine. And now it's like, oh, whoopsie.
The whole thing with Bill, where he was like, what makes you think that you can just change the innate things about a vampire? And he was like, sometimes you can. And then he did.
Right.
He did.
Then it worked, and he was right, and that sucks.
That sucks.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Ew.
Yeah.
It's so nasty. And then for him, like, the last thing that he says to his daughter is like, hey, I'm gonna say goodbye to you for forever. Also, I don't think that you're ever gonna be okay again.
Yeah.
Gross. Bye, Bill. Go fuck yourself.
Don't love it. Not a fan.
See?
Yeah.
Not a fan. Liz, I wish that you would have asked Damon to kill him.
Yeah.
He's gross. He's probably not human.
Yeah.
To be honest.
For sure.
But also, I thought it was weird that Damon said Bill suggested them putting vervain in the water supply, because we talked about that before.
Yeah.
I thought that was already happening.
Yeah, I thought y'all were just, like, drinking just slightly tainted water this whole time, but I guess that's still on the table. Question mark?
Yeah.
Okay.
They made it seem like that was a really, like, QAnon type thing, when that was the most, like, based thing Bill has ever said.
Yeah.
Given the way that this episode ends, when Hell himself pulls up.
Yeah.
Like, move that bus. And he has a bus full of his dead family. The way that he travels, by the way, I'm never going to be over this. The way that he travels with all of his dead family.
Yeah, it's like...
we know that he has a storage container full of them somewhere, too. But he just travels with, like, his top 8.
Yeah, he's literally got his MySpace top 8 of his family. It's like,
how do you choose?
I appreciate the gesture of this, I suppose. I think there's some emotional resonance there, perhaps, but it just, like, on a practical level, I am a little concerned.
When they find out, Klaus, when your dead family find out that only some of them get to travel with you.
Yeah.
It's not nice.
Yeah, it's like we've been, being shepherded like sardines in a can in here.
Right.
And also there's a bunch of us that are just like, thrown about the world, right? Just like in different hiding spots. Like, what? Huh?
What happened to, like, putting your body to rest?
Yeah.
Some of us are getting, like, a continental U.S. road trip.
Yeah.
What's up with that?
God.
It's nasty. How does it feel for part of this episode to be back in Chicago? When they start this episode with B-roll in Chicago.
We're so back, baby. I think Catherine should just live there, you know? I think
I agree. She seems right.
She's a city girl at heart. I think this is where she belongs. I think it's fun for her. I think she'll have a good time. I love, too, that, like, God, I keep forgetting her name, but the woman who was dead for 90 years and is back with a necklace.
Oh, Rebecca.
Rebecca, yes. I love her, like, little reintroduction to modern society, right? Because she's been dead for a century, and she's trying on clothes, and, you know, she says a couple of unfavorable things, which I won't repeat word for word, but she's kind of like, wow, women dress like sluts now, kind of vibe. And Stefan is there just, like, you know, iPad on the just, like, waiting room, not even really looking, and being like, yeah, okay. And she's very confused by dance music. You know, I love that. That's very fun.
It was such an interesting thing, because it's been, like, 90 years.
Yeah.
Right?
Long time.
And a comparison, when theoretically the clothes that she was wearing in that scene to what she was wearing in the 20s, the music is really not that different.
Right.
The clothing, really not that different.
Yeah.
If you think about it.
She was more like I used to wear pants and people ridiculed me. And now everyone's like, well, now people can kind of wear whatever they want. It's fine. And she's just, like, disgusted.
Yeah, I think she said the music was like a couple cable cars getting in an accident.
Yeah.
It's like, all right.
A little descriptive. Yeah, okay.
They weren't even playing, like, LMFAO.
Right.
Where that would have been applicable.
Yeah.
So chill out. But, it was very good. Stefan looked so over it. He was, like, drinking champagne, playing Angry Birds.
Right.
And he was like, can I go?
Yeah, he's like, are we done? I'm tired.
Yeah, he was not in the mood. Klaus was loving it, though.
Yeah.
He's very into it. But yeah, no, I thought it was very interesting that Catherine was still there. She just she was bored. She was, like, outside the window, like a little, like Tiny Tim, like, let me in.
Yeah. She's like, I guess I'll try to save my ex-boyfriend, ? Because I have nothing else to do today. You know, I'm chilling, you know. I'm just getting
She just wants to be part of their world. The way that she interacts with Stefan at
Yeah.
the start of this episode and Damon at the end of this episode.
Yep.
She's so bored.
Yeah. She just wants something to do. And she's like, if y'all are down to, you know, take a hit on Klaus, I'm in, you know, like, I'm bored. I've like, shit has been really slow, you know, you guys haven't really been doing a lot of interesting things for me, per se, so if we want to just, like, collabo on that, let's go. I'm ready. I'm you know, I'm not booked and busy. I'm just chilling. I mean, Garrett's popcorn and riding the train and living life.
I love it. But of course, Stefan's like, I don't need your help, Catherine.
Which,
Go
like,
get in a ditch.
Again, incorrect, right? Like, so, like, I know we don't trust Catherine. He does not have any reason to trust Catherine, right? But also, big man, you think you're gonna be like, oh, I can do this by myself? What are you talking about? When has that literally ever been the case? Once. Ever.
Incorrect, yeah.
Just, like...
Because he's trying to lie...
Yeah.
To Stefan and Rebecca and be like, oh, I don't know where that necklace is. That's so wild.
It's definitely not on my girlfriend's neck. It's definitely alive.
Not on my girlfriend's neck. And he's the worst liar ever.
He's so bad. And it's like,
it took
you're also
Gloria like 2 seconds during that ritual to figure out.
Yeah, it's like, you're full of shit, and also you're really bad at this. Because, like, you're fucking with, like, OG vampires plus OG witches, right? Who, like, kind of know shit more than you do. Even regular-ass vampires and witches are pretty more well-adapted to situations than you are, Stefan. Because you're not locking in. You never lock in. And so it's like, homie, you can't, this is not a one-man job, especially if you are the one man, right? Like, you in particular are not capable of this. God.
I didn't understand, and I know why, because it's Stefan, but, like, Gloria offers him a choice.
Yeah.
She's like, listen, if you just tell me what's up, we can work together, because I want this necklace, and Klaus can go fuck himself. And he's like, no. And she's like, all right, well, I gave you a choice, so I'm just going to get the information out of you anyway.
Yeah, I guess I'll just torture you
like,
instead. Is that better? Is that better for you?
He's like, damn, I never saw this coming.
Yeah. How do they keep getting away with this?
And Catherine, because she's following him and is bored, is like, I can't believe that I had to save your life.
Yeah.
What the hell?
God.
It's so bad. He's so bad at this.
Yeah.
It was wild, though, that it, like, burned Elena.
Yeah. That was some long distance magic there.
And the way that it happened, it wasn't just like it stung her.
Yeah.
It had an imprint on her skin.
Yeah.
That should have shown up throughout the rest of the day, and that it didn't.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Hmm.
I was very proud, because it happened during that moment, and then we saw it at the end of the episode, too. I was really proud of Caroline for being like, hey, so Elena, what the fuck's happening with you and Damon?
Yeah,
You're
hey girl,
acting-
can we have a real conversation about anything? Instead of you just being moody and reclusive and not talking to anyone and your best friend, who you love.
Rick tries it, too, which obviously doesn't work.
No.
And Bonnie says it a little bit of like, hey, so I was gone for the summer and everything goes to shit. That's weird.
Yeah.
But I loved at the end of the episode, Caroline was finally like, hey, so I did tell you, but are you attracted to him? Are you not saying anything? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Because it's really weird.
I'm very, not perplexed, I'm just interested in Elena's response. Because she kind of goes on this, like Bond villain monologue a little bit. Because it's like, which is kind of wild. It feels very, like, not in tone with the scene, but I appreciate it, I guess. Because also, while we know that there's been some sort of, like, tension between them for a while, outside of, like, the kiss and stuff, she's still kind of on the, like, oh man, I'm grieving that Stefan doesn't, like, told me to go away kind of stuff. So it doesn't feel like, I think they're still in the dynamic with her and Damon that does not feel like truly a thing that is like could be a thing, right? But she is saying it in such a way that it's like, I can't even think about it for a second. Like, what would that say about me? I can't even like entertain that thing. And she like keeps going on, and then you know, Caroline's like, hey, so you just said a lot of stuff, but like, just like, do you think about, you know what I mean, like, do you just think he's hot? Like, like, is there an emotional thing? It's just a physical thing? I'm confused, right? And she's just like, I can't even go there, God. It's like, what is happening?
Well, it even started that way at the beginning of the episode when they were talking to Rick too, because it was like, Damon thinks I'm gonna freak out if I think about what Stefan said to me like yesterday. I think it was in real time. And granted, like, it was heavy. I mean, we compared it to New Moon, right? So
yeah, in
theory, it was like, I just need to keep busy, because if I stop for a second and think about the fact that my boyfriend and the guy that I love told me to go sit on train tracks,
right,
then I'll lose it. But the way that it comes across to people is like, so do you like each other or not? Like,
yeah,
I don't care, but just be honest.
Right. Just like say how you feel, and that can be you know, not what you want to feel, but it just feels we're going a little circuitous route here.
But no one is being honest, because that would be too easy.
Right.
And we see that with some of the other plot lines, because Bonnie ends up telling Catherine, not Elena, about Jeremy.
Right.
But that was wild to have Bonnie come back after this summer.
Yeah.
And Jeremy be like, hey, so...
Definitely didn't miss anything. For sure.
Because I think this was the first time when they talked, when Bonnie and Jeremy talked, that he got confirmation from Bonnie that he was brought back to life.
Yeah.
And that, like, it kind of messed with, like, life and death stuff.
Yeah. The lines are definitely more blurred now.
Yeah.
Which is tough.
Because I think he knew, but to get that confirmation explains a lot more about why he's having these ghost TM, the movie scenes, with Anna this episode.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't hate it.
Yeah. It's also very interesting of, like, because again, this was introduced episode 1, right? Or, like, end of last season. And they were just like, this is a thing that just is going to happen in the background, I guess. Let's not worry about that. And it's like, hey, what? I wanted a little, actually, more information about this. Thank you. And the mechanics of this are very interesting in that what she is saying, at least, which, again, we can take it at face value, but that he can only hear, see, touch, her, if he is, like, actively thinking or, like, dreaming of her and, like, brings her into, like, a level of consciousness and physicality that only exists for him. / also interacting with the world, also, because she's able to, like, grab stuff and move things around a little bit.
They have to both be online.
Right. Which is interesting.
Because there's parts of this where they're interacting where he's like, girl, you need to go. And she's like, you're also thinking about me. And he's like, damn it.
Right. It's like, if you want to do that, you gotta stop. And I love to, like, because, and again, I think this is kind of, like, more of a technicality, because I think it's hard to, like, especially when you're like, oh, don't think about someone, you're gonna think about them, right? Like, or it's like a, psychological thing. So I think he's not really operating on those levels. He's just kind of like, let me close my eyes and you're gone. Kind of thing. And she just, like, fades into the ether. Like, okay. Damn.
Some of this is really interesting. Like, the lore we're finally getting, I think, is helpful in explaining it. Because I don't... what I had thought originally was the way that we usually understand spirits, of, like, they have to pull energy from stuff like lights to be able to, like, make things move or, like, crash windows, stuff like that.
Sure.
But they're not touching. Like, when we see their hands together, Jeremy's just, like, imagining them touching.
Right. Gotcha. Okay.
At least that's how I interpreted it. Of, like, when he was like, try again, I think he was just, like, looking at it to be like, oh yeah, like, I remember how you feel. Very Ghost, the movie. Which I love. I'll eat that shit up. I loved it. I think it's great.
Oh yeah.
And I think it's very appropriate for Jeremy to want to have a ghost girlfriend. I know he's, like, giggling and kicking up his feet. Yeah. And there were moments, too, where, you know, like, when Bonnie comes back and he's hugging her, Anna's in the mirror, and I was like, fuck. But what I'm confused with what they're setting up is Vicky. Because Vicky's not there. Anna keeps saying she's alone.
Yeah.
And
what's going on with Vicky?
Vicky's not part of it. Vicky is part of this, quote, darkness.
Yeah.
And Anna, in that moment where the grimoires burn, comes and warns Jeremy right before of, like, the darkness is here. Before they set fire. Which, like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Hey... Maybe be a bit more specific. I'm scared.
Right, exactly. And I don't know what they're setting up with that specifically. Which I find confusing. I'm interested, but that I need a little bit more information on. I also found it weird, this is just a side note, but I found it weird that this event of the founders party / chili cook-off was happening during the afternoon evening, but was also scheduled at the same time as a football practice, because why was it at the Lockwoods home but Tyler wasn't there?
Right.
There was just the moment when he came back and he offered to beat up Bill, and Caroline was like, listen, my dad can go fuck himself. I don't really want him dead, especially because, like, that shirt was really expensive.
Sure. That
I bought him. I thought was, her character, I really appreciate.
Yeah.
And thinking about when she went to go, like, fight Damon in that moment was very good.
Oh, yeah.
What was the other part that I wanted to... Oh, when Jeremy actually told Bonnie.
Yeah.
Bonnie seemed nonplussed about it, which is so Bonnie.
Yeah, she's like, I actually, I know in the beginning she was like, it was so boring, nothing, like, wild was happening because my family's so normal. It's like, girl, appreciate that, because your friends are really bad at this, bad at being normal and cool, and enjoy that, because there's a lot of shit going on here, and I don't want you to be a part of this, to be honest, because they don't deserve you, and also, it's gonna be bad, bad situation.
And that surprised me, because maybe it was her mom's side that I was thinking of, but I fully thought that her dad's side was the one from Salem. So
yeah,
maybe we'll just never find out what she was doing that summer. But she needed some time off. She needed her peace. Yeah. She deserved it. And I'm proud of her for it. But because as soon as she comes back, they immediately put her to work on finding out what that necklace was. All the shit's on fire. Like, she gets no time off.
Yeah. It's like, welcome back, Bonnie. Here's a bunch of chores.
God. I feel so bad for her. It's awful. I'm worried the way that this episode ends.
Yeah.
Because Damon's like, well, Elena and I just got into a tiff. I need to get the fuck out of Dodge.
Yeah.
Because I have zoomies that I need to get out of. And Elena obviously doesn't need me. She's fine. Even though Klaus needs to kill her to do his whole, like, evil scheme. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go hang out with Catherine. But then, motherfuckers here in Town Square. This is so Damon. Of, like, God. As soon as he wants to get out of town, here's the big bad. Ready to cause trouble.
Yeah. It's like, hey, bitch, remember me? Thought you saw the last of me. Let's go.
You have one job, Damon. You told Stefan you had one job, which was to take care of Elena. Mm-hmm. Why are you leaving?
Yeah. Always do this shit. Pisses me off.
I am nervous. It also seems like, based on the fact that Klaus and Rebecca finally figured out that, like, Stefan is lying.
Yeah.
That the jig is up. So I'm assuming that this next episode, he's going to finally decide to go back to being, like, boring, normal Stefan. Which is fine. 5 episodes is, like...
Yeah. We had our fun with bad Stefan, I guess. Whatever. Ugh.
But, oh well. I can't say I am sad about it per se, because I'm already kind of bored by Rebecca.
Yeah.
I just want to know what Klaus, when I look at this episode picture from The Reckoning, like, what is Klaus doing with all these cups in the gym? I'm scared. Is it like forking, but for a gym? I have questions. We have some amazing patrons to thank. Do you want to start us off?
Absolutely. Thank you to Callista Lockwood.
Ooh, thank you to Sean Salvatore.
Pew, pew, pew. Thank you to Megan Pattinson.
Ooh, thank you to Katya Karp.
Ooh, thank you to Ashlyn Vogel.
Ooh, thank you to Genevieve Morgan.
Pew, pew, pew. Thank you to Danielle Burke.
Ooh, thank you to Janae Bennett.
Ow. Thank you to Sophia Salinger.
Ooh, thank you to Dan Zeklos.
Pew, pew. Thank you to Emily Ozera.
Ooh, and last but certainly not least, thank you to Jaylene Ivishkov.
Ow.
I have a fanfiction for you that I'm pretty sure I have not read before. This is from orphan_account.
Okay.
It is titled Death in Video Games. And it's just a lighthearted one. The summary is set somewhere in season 2. Stefan walks in on Damon doing something unseemly for a vampire of 160 years. There's only one chapter.
Okay.
Damon scrambled for the remote and flipped the TV off before Stefan came further into the room, but it was too late. There are wolves and vampires out there plotting to kill us, and you're playing video games? Stefan couldn't keep the incredulous tone out of his voice if he tried. Damon had the courtesy to look guilty for a split second before he folded his arms and narrowed his eyes back at Stefan. I had to do something to entertain myself while you were playing high schooler all day. Shrugging off the excuse, Stefan paused, his brow furrowed, figuring out what he had seen. He looked back at his brother. Was that Grand Theft Auto? The accusatory expression cracked into a smile, and Damon nodded, sitting back on the edge of the bed. Vice City. Gotta love the classics. He grabbed the controller and offered it up. I'm going to pause here and skip a second because it's language that is gross. Stefan bit back a laugh. It wasn't untrue. Their dark pasts and blood-drunk benders weren't really that funny, but considering all the shit they had to deal with, the normality of a few hours of violent video games with his brother was downright weird, but not unwelcome. Damon slid over so Stefan could sit beside him. Stefan took the controller as Damon turned the TV back on. Real life could wait. End scene.
Okay.
You ever just play GTA?
Yeah, just like a fun. This is what I want. I just want. I want the B-sides.
I desperately need that.
God,
actually,
I'm not asking for much here.
I think it would solve a lot of problems if they actually got their conflicts out by
sure.
GTA.
Yeah.
It's what I need. It wouldn't work per se. I don't know that we would have those kind of sponsorships, seeing as right now we've just had like Nokia in there.
Yeah.
But a girl can dream.
All right.
We have given you some amazing TV suggestions on there. Tell your friends about the show.
Hell yeah.
It's a great time to catch up on there. And as we say here in the Pacific Northwest,
get bit.
Ooh.
Ow. Into the Twilight is an Earbud Media production. You can follow us on Twitter at Into the Twilight or on TikTok at Into the Twilight Show. You can find me at Cody Corral on Twitter and Allie at Alexandria Does. And you can support us on Patreon at patreon.com/Into the Twilight. We have merch, so much stuff. All those links are in the episode description. And make sure to rate and review us on your favorite podcast hosting platform. It really helps the show. Thanks. Bye.
You've been listening to Earbud Media Production. Earbud Media, audio for everyone.